Hey kids, Pastor Chris here. Welcome to another episode of RMPC's Kids Questions. Let's take a look at this week's question. Our question this week is, what should I feel when I move schools? That is a great question. That's a great question because at some point or another, we all experience that. Maybe we don't all switch schools, but at some point in our lives, we all go through some really big changes, and we don't necessarily know how we should feel about them. Maybe we switch schools, or maybe we move to a new city. When you're all grown up, maybe you get a new job. Maybe instead of us moving or leaving schools, maybe we have a friend who leaves our school, who moves to a new city or something like that. And those are some changes in life that can be really hard. And it's helpful for us to know, what does the Bible say about how we should feel when we go through some really hard changes like that? So, 2 things the Bible says we should know. Number 1, we need to know that it's okay to feel sad and even upset about those changes sometimes. Sometimes it can be easy for us to think that because we're Christians, we always need to be happy all the time. But that's not true. When we read the Bible, we see that lots of God's people get sad and upset and go through hard times, and that's not wrong. They're not sinning when they do that. So for example, we have so many Psalms that are written by people who are expressing their sadness to God, or who are expressing that they are upset to God. And we have those Psalms so that we can see how they did that, and so that we can learn how we can express our sadness to God or our frustrations. And it is a wonderful gift to have Psalms like that. And not only do we see that in the Psalms, but I think of, for example, the Apostle Paul. In Acts chapter 20, there's a story where he's doing his missionary trips, and he's traveling from city to city. As he's doing that, he is spending years in some cities, and he's making really great friends and developing deep relationships. And so in Acts chapter 20, he's meeting with some elders in the city Ephesus. And after spending a lot of time with them, he's telling them that he's gonna get going on his journey, and it's either gonna be a really long time before they ever see him again, or they may never see him again. And they spend a great time together praying, but they also spend that time, the Bible says, crying together, because it's sad and it's going to be hard. And it's great for us to be able to have that story to look at. And so when we change schools, or move to a new city, or have a friend that leaves, or go through some really big change like that, the first thing we need to know is that it's okay to be sad. And we can take that sadness to God, and we can pray to God and tell him, God, I am sad about this. My heart breaks because of this. Maybe I'm also upset. Maybe I'm also scared. And God hears those prayers, and he loves when we bring those concerns and those prayers to him. So that's the first thing to know. But the second thing that we need to know, the second thing we should feel as we make some type of big change like that, is that we should feel confident. Because God promises us 2 things. First, he promises us that no matter what, he is God, and he is in control over every single little detail of our lives. He is in control over even when one little hair falls off of our head. A single hair will not fall from your head unless God says that that hair should fall from your head. God is in control over every little detail, over everything that we experience, which leads to the second thing he promises. Everything he does is good. Everything he does is for your good, because you are one of his children. And so whatever God does in your life, whatever changes he brings, even if it's really hard at first, even if it makes you really sad or even upset, even if you're scared and you just don't know how to feel, it's okay to feel all of those things, but know that God is in complete control. That change is happening in your life because God ordained that that change would happen in your life, and he's doing it ultimately because it's what's best for you. It may not seem like it right away, It may take years and years to see why that was a good thing to happen. In fact, you may not even understand in this life. It may wait until you're in heaven before you really understand why that change needed to happen. But God promises that everything he does is for your ultimate good. So how should you feel in a change like that? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to cry, to be scared, to wonder what to feel. But as you feel all of those things, you should also be confident that God is doing this because it is best for you. He is going to work it out for your good. I hope that's helpful, and I cannot wait to see you guys next week for another episode of RMPC's Kids Questions.